Hello, good morning, friends, comrades. I want to say thank you guys so much for the really nice responses I got on my last video. Sorry it's taken me a while to film.
Pardon the interruption.
I genuinely was panicking. And then I started so many vlogs because I have ADHD. It is very hard for me to stay on task. Even like at work, I will start something and then I'll be like, oh, I have to do this. And then I will like stop what I'm in the middle of and start something. It is what it is. I'm working through it, okay? I'm in therapy and we're talking about it. But let me tell you about my current read. I'm currently reading this, Daughter of the Moon Goddess. This is my IRL book club pick of the month. About 50% of the way through, and I'm really enjoying it. I really like it. I didn't know what this was about either. This follows, you guessed it, the Daughter of the Moon Goddess. She has always lived her life in the Moon Palace with her mom, not knowing much about her father, not knowing about much of life outside of her home. She finds out that there's a reason for this and she has to run away and she goes into hiding. Where does she end up going into hiding? In the Emperor's household. I'm listening to the audiobook for it. I love the narrator. I feel like this is one of the reasons why I love to have book club, is because it forces me, it pushes me to read books that are outside of my comfort zone and not necessarily things that I would pick up on my own or without having some kind of incentive to do so. Last night I finished All the Blues in the Sky by Renee Watson and I really enjoyed that. I have a little rant. I'm obsessed with Wicked, okay? And I will be very honest with y'all. I was a Wicked hater when it came out on Broadway. I thought it was overhyped. I wasn't really a fan, okay? I wasn't a fan. I watched it one time and that was enough for me. When I saw that it was coming out and it was going to be starring Cynthia Erivo, who is my life soul, and I have been a big fan of her since she was in The Color Purple on Broadway, since I first heard her sing, and there's just something about her. So I was like, okay, well, I have to see it, and I'm literally obsessed. I'm literally obsessed. I'm obsessed with the movie. I'm obsessed with the music. I'm obsessed with Cynthia Erivo. I love Ariana Grande as Glinda. It's become one of my comfort movies. Last year I talked a lot about Barbie. Was it last year? Did Barbie come out a year ago? I talked about how much I love Barbie, and Barbie is my favorite movie of all time, which is saying a lot because I've seen a lot of movies and I am a big movie buff. I'm a big movie person. But yeah, Barbie is my favorite movie of all time. However, the feelings I got when I watched Wicked were very similar to the feelings I got when I watched Barbie. So Wicked is one of my favorite films now. I have a feeling though, I'm gonna have to have part 1 and part 2 to like say if it's like a definite favorite, like on my top 5 movies of all time. I was listening to the Wicked soundtrack, as one does. On my suggested videos was a video of a priest reviewing Wicked and giving his thoughts on Wicked. Now, I tend to keep all of my social media secular. I don't really talk about God or faith or religion. I feel like it's a topic that, well, I don't need to discuss on the internet. Regardless, about why he thought that Wicked was like, it was a great movie like artistic wise, but why it was not good like literary wise or whatever he was trying to say. I didn't really get the purpose of his video. If y'all want to see it, I will link it down below. I don't know, I had a weird feeling about it. Like I was watching it, rubbed me the wrong way, basically because I feel like this man does not understand the plot of the movie or the plot of the story at all, because he kept comparing it to the Wizard of Oz. He's like, if these are not your original characters, like you should not be able to read them, blah, 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 whatever his stuff was that he said. And I was like, okay, whatever, that's your belief. But then he started talking about how it felt like it was an excuse for the things that Elphaba did. And then I'm thinking, like, to me, Wicked and the Wizard of Oz are two totally different things. Like, they're two completely separate entities. I am a teacher. Most of my kids have never seen Wizard of Oz. Let me be real honest. And I tell them not to because it's not good. I don't like the Wizard of Oz movie. I don't like the musical of Wizard of Oz. I hate it, actually. So that just like rubbed me the wrong way. And I guess it started off my morning and made me a little annoyed. Made me a little mad. Wicked is an inherently political story, and I don't think it gives the character excuses as to why she does bad things. I'm not gonna excuse some of the stuff that Elphaba does. I won't do any spoilers here because I know some people probably haven't seen the musical or know what happens in the musical. I think it's a movie that or a story that talks about how things are not always black and white. There's a huge gray area in the middle. There's things that you do not necessarily understand, and it it cannot be, she is bad, she is evil, she is the destroyer of a world, right? And it can't be just like, oh, Glinda is good, Glinda is nice, Glinda is pretty, Glinda, blah, blah, blah. Like, she's perfect, she's the good witch. It's not so black and white. I think the story also talks a lot about privilege and how groups of people are more privileged than others, and how when certain people get into power, they abuse that power. To boil the movie down into, well, this is teaching people that, like, you could be bad and, like, you can make bad choices, and if that's justified by your past or your previous behavior, it's okay. Like, saying that that's what the movie is about, I think it's a very surface level interpretation. Personally, no offense, with peace and love, a very vapid take of the film, and not really digging into the meat of the story. There's so much that's going on in Wicked, and there's so much going on within the characters that you cannot just say, like, it's the story that, okay, sure, it gives like her backstory, is like, why is she evil? I don't think that the show, the play, excuses that, right? Even if you take The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, right, which is by Suzanne Collins about President Snow in the Hunger Games, I don't think you can say, well, I don't need that story, I don't need to know why he is the way he is. I feel like understanding a villain is a very psychological, interesting point of view. I wouldn't say that in The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, it is giving President Snow an excuse for his behavior. I think we are seeing like, oh, he's just a nasty man. And that's literally what it is. It's like, yes, he has all of these things, all of this stuff happened to him, but at the end of the day, he's still not a nice person. Versus Wicked, where it's like, we have Elphaba, we have Glinda. They both are so different. Glinda has had this very privileged life. Elphaba hasn't. It doesn't mean that Glinda's a horrible, awful person. It just means she's privileged and she has to learn through that privilege. It doesn't mean that Elphaba is, oh, poor Elphaba, I need to feel sorry for her. I need to excuse any bad behavior she does, because it's like, to me, that's literally the dumbest take. I'm gonna continue drinking my coffee because I'm starting to get a headache. I will check in with you guys a little bit later, and I will update you guys on how I'm doing with Daughter of the Moon Goddess, because I'm loving it so far. This intro clip was so long, I'm so sorry. But hey, I wanted to come in and do a little reading update. So I'm currently reading this graphic novel called Snapdragon, Cat Lay. And I actually, my classroom always makes an order for Scholastic, and sometimes you can get free books or you can get books with points, or my parents will buy books off of the wish list that I have for my classroom. I had this graphic novel because my kids love graphic novels, which anything that will encourage them to read, I am interested in giving them to read. But I also low-key wanted to read this, so I chose it. I'm actually really enjoying this. I'm almost done. I think I have like 100 pages left, which means I'll be finished with it ASAP. But it's about a girl named Snapdragon, and she stumbles upon the local wicked witch of her town, and it's one of the neighbors that children have kind of made up stories about and talk about how cruel and evil she is. So I'm really enjoying it. It's also by one of the co-authors for Lumberjanes, and I absolutely adore Lumberjanes. I think I'm all caught up with that series, but I really like this one. I love the art style. It really, I don't know, I really like all the different colors that it uses and stuff. So I'm really enjoying it. Also, if you hear the noise that's going on in the background, that is one of my cats, and feel like they've been all over my Instagram, but I obviously haven't been filming or posting on my YouTube channel. Bless you! I will introduce you guys to my two little kitties. They are my two emotional support animals. So my two cats' names are Fern and Clover. I did a lot of research going into adopting them. I found that I got them as kittens, so I've had them basically their whole life, except for like the first like 3 or 4 months of their life. Other than that, they've been with me their whole life, and I adopted them from an amazing rescue that is local. Freak, my battery is flashing, so let me say this quickly into where I wanted to get them, what kind of personalities I wanted for my cat. So I'm gonna charge my battery for this. The progress that I've made in Daughter of the Moon Goddess, I'm about 50% of the way through, and I'm absolutely loving it. This is the first time I've read a book club book for my IRL book club so ahead of schedule. Like, girl, what are you doing? You're on top top of your shit. Yeah. So, all right. So I will charge my battery and then I'll get back to you guys. Okay? Okay. So this little chunky monkey here is Fern. This is my kitty Fernie. She is so pretty. She is a cuddle monster. She loves to cuddle. And this angel here is Clover. Now, she does not want me to, she doesn't like the camera. She's a little bit scared of it. But, yeah, so this is my little angel face. She is literally my shadow. She does not like the camera. She's not like Fern where she's like uber curious about things. She does not want me to hold her because the camera is a little scary for her. You see the camera? But she is literally my shadow. Like, she follows me everywhere I go and she's obsessed with me. I gotta go watch her because she's being naughty because I'm talking to the camera. But yeah, I love them. This is my book binding stuff. These are the bind that I'm currently working on. And this little lady, this lady right here, she is the culprit of this mess. What do you have to say about that, Ferniper? Hello, friend. I wanted to come in and do a little update because I've done a lot of reading. Did not update you guys. Basically, I finished a whole bunch of books. I want to talk to them about them. So sorry if I'm not in focus. I don't know what's going on. I finished 2 graphic novels and 2 books. So I finished 4 things this weekend, which, wow. Pat on the back, because usually I do not read that much because I get distracted, but I was in a big reading mood this weekend. So the first graphic novel I finished, I talked about it with you guys. I finished Snapdragon. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It was a very, very cute story. I really enjoyed it. I don't know. Then I finished Ride. That was the second graphic novel and I absolutely loved this. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Y'all know I'm a horse girl, so loved it because it was about horse girls and being a horse girl and growing and apart from friends and like that's okay and it's okay to change. So I absolutely loved that. And then I read another 5-star. I finished Pictures of You by Emma Gray. This was, I think Jan talked about this and it being one of her favorite book of the year. Honestly, I have the brain of goldfish, so I don't remember, but I know she really liked it because we had a conversation about it. But it was just an absolutely fantastic book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I literally told my mom, I was like, you need to read this because I feel like you'll love it. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. So this follows our main character. She has gotten into a car accident and her husband has passed away, but she does not remember anything that has happened in the past few years. She, in the accident, loses her memory and she only has her memories up to being 16 or 17. So she was in high school and obviously she's in her 30s now, so a whole lot has happened in the past few years. And it was just such a great, obviously, if you have any trigger warnings with abuse, mental health, I would look specifically up what they are for this, but I really enjoyed it. It was really good. And I think it'll definitely be on my top books of the year because I really did like it a lot. And then the next book that I finished was a struggle, okay? I wanted to DNF it so many times because I hated it. But I kept on going because I don't know why. Honestly, maybe just to be quite honest, to add it to my finished book count, and because I was so far into it that I feel like once you're in the 50% mark, what's the point of DNFing? Let me just finish the other 50%, right? That was my mindset, I guess, with this. And that's Onyx by Rebecca Yarr. I really genuinely want to know why people are giving that book 5 stars. Probably one of the worst books that I have ever read, and that includes Iron Flame. I gave Iron Flame 1 star. I gave this book 0.5 stars. If I could give it 0 stars, I would. One of my most hated books is Six of Crows. This is probably my most hated book. I hated Onyx. Nothing happened. Anything of the world that we were given was just kind of thrown at us, and we get all of this information that the characters literally do nothing with. Like, I'm purposely trying to be vague because I don't want to give spoilers to anyone or anything, but I just absolutely hated this. It was garbage to me. It was absolute garbage. Listened to it I started reading it physically, and then I ended up having to move to audio, and I listened to it on 3 times speed. I absolutely hated it. It was just such garbage. It was so bad. I don't think it was written well. I think there's too much within the plot that doesn't make sense. Why are the characters going searching for information and then with that information doing absolutely nothing with it? Why is Violet so annoying? Like, she just drove me nuts the entire book. I feel like her character from book 1 to now is a completely different person. Iron Flame, she was annoying as well. My thing is, like, if you want some kind of conflict between your love interest, okay, great. Give me conflict, but don't give me like, I love him, I hate him. Make a decision. If you're upset with them, be upset with him. Don't. I just feel like Violet created problems within herself, and with it, I just couldn't stand her. I hated this book so much. So I genuinely wanted how people are giving this 5 stars or 4 stars. We're getting a lot of stuff happening, but it doesn't make sense, okay? I think this book series should have been a 3-book series. I don't think that it should have been a 5-book series. I think that this series should probably take more time for each book to be written. I mean, last year when Iron Flame came out in January, she had not written Onyx Storm yet. So you're telling me that this book is well crafted? Wow. She didn't. And listen, I know authors can pump out books, and there's some other authors that pump out books and they're amazing. This is not one of those cases, which I'm sorry to report. And I feel like Fourth Wing was an anomaly, okay? Because I tried to read one of her romance books and I absolutely hated it. So yeah, I think this is me officially saying that I am DNFing the Fourth Wing series, all right? This is worse. That book was worse than the third from Blood and Ash, okay? And I hated that book. I can't. I'm so over it. Over it. Done. I'm not in focus. I'm sorry. Anyways, let's move on to something that I am enjoying. So I did tell you guys I was reading Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I am literally almost done with it. I cannot wait to finish it. I'm loving it so much, and I am going to want to pick up the second one ASAP. So I gotta see if my library has the audiobook. I love listening to it on audio. Then physically, I am reading Hearing Red, which I think I talked a little bit about with you guys. Not too sure. I am about 70 pages in, and it's just so good. Okay, I'm a zombie girly through and through. I love things that have to do with zombies. This is good. This is really good. Okay, so good. I look so pale. I look sickly. I'm sorry. I apologize. So I'm really enjoying this. I am currently on my prep school. It's second period. I hate having prep second period. I gotta go run and do some things. I've been talking to the camera for too long. So see you guys. Peace out, Girl Scout.